Welcome back to the What's Up Eddie channel, Divine Therapy Sessions. And of course, I'm the one and only Eddie. So glad to have you guys back. And these are my Divine Therapy Sessions. And in today's Eddie's Life Hack lesson number 23, we're going to talk about patience. So I got my first experience that I actually remembered and stuck with me in patience back when I was in high school. So I had made the wrestling team and I had wrestled only my senior year. And so that was a big deal, right? So they had to fit me in somewhere on the team, and the spot that was open was the 189 pounds. The only thing is I was 7 pounds underweight. So that's a huge difference in regards to that type of sport, because the next weight category is stronger, right? So if I was underneath it, that meant that I had to be more athletic. I had to be strong enough, right? So early on, I realized that so I would have like an adrenaline dump, and a lot of the times, because I was wrestling these guys that were a lot bigger than me. But I remember we had like a rivalry match with another school, and these guys were so known for winning. They won like year after year. They were the best. They were the top high schools, right? And I remember the clout that these guys had. They would walk around like with pride with their jackets. And I remember our school was like that, but it wasn't the same thing. They had like this. They would wear that stuff everywhere. It was the way that they carried themselves, right? They knew that they were the best, and the record reflected it. And when they went to the school, their presence was like, you could just smell it and feel it in the air, right? That tension that they had. And I remember asking the coach, like, so you practice for a couple weeks before you get there, right? And I remember asking my coach, hey, like, what is some good advice that you have for these guys? Because, you know, they're top notch. And I remember him telling me, Eddie, what you need to do in this match and every match after this is have patience, slow down. You wrestle from your intuition instead of actually what's going on. You're expecting for something to happen instead of slowing down and watching your opponent and what he's actually doing. And I remember not understanding what he meant, and I asked him again right before our match. And so mind you guys, let me paint the picture beforehand. So at 189, you're like the third to last before like the whole meet's over. Everyone before me lost. And so there was only 2 guys that won that day. Guess who was one? Moi. And there was another guy who actually won too. We actually were in the newspaper. But the story goes like this, you guys. So I asked him again, hey coach, what should I do? He said, slow down, boy, patience. He thinks you're gonna wrestle a certain way. They watch video, they have footage of you, so they know how you wrestle. You gotta change it up. If you slow your pace down, and he told me, slow down and don't act like yourself. And so I took that into account. So instead of starting out fast, I allowed him to keep the tempo instead of me. So I wrestled a whole different game, right? I threw the guy off, but this guy was beating me the whole time. And so I remember the little break that I got in between where, like, you know, my coach could tell me something. He's like, you're doing a good job. You may be losing on points, but he's tiring down, and I can tell that you haven't had your explosion yet. And he's like, it's coming. Just keep watching for it. And so I'm telling you guys, it was like the third period there. I think there was about 30 seconds left, and I felt it. I could see him slowing down, and he was making mistakes. And I waited for the right opportune moment. So I allowed him to flip me over, and as he flipped me over, I flipped him over, and that's when I caught him. I pinned him, and I remember everything slowing down. Like, my brothers were in the stands. Everyone. I wasn't supposed to win that match, and for a first time or a first year, it's unheard of, right? And I remember it was just a monumental moment for me, and I remember to myself, wow, like, patience is key. Like, this kind of thing helps. And so how do we make that how is it this more of like blah, 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 I can't even talk right now, right? So how do we implement this in our spirituality, in our journey, right? This is what the channel is all about. And so in practical matters, you can implement this by your manifestations alone, right? And your manifestations is everything. You're creating and co-creating at all times. And a lot of times in this platform called planet Earth, the third density, we want to micromanage and control. And a lot of times I preach or I teach that when you release control, release the micromanage, and you sit and wait, you allow the miracle to happen. And those miracles will present themselves when you let go. That's why they say let go and let God. These sayings, these silly sayings that we think of that have been said through the ages, they work. They're imperative in our lives. So a lot of the time, so I think about this channel, right? There's a cool quote that I heard from 50 Cent. He said that a lot of the times he knows his content, his music that he puts out is hot, right? And that people aren't vibing with him on the time period, the time that he wants it to happen. And so he said the time period where it actually takes off, it's never the time period that he thinks it is. It's the time that it's supposed to happen, because that time, the in-between time, the meantime, in-between time, as I always say, is the time period where he develops thick enough skin for when it is hot and when it is popping off. So it hit home for me, because I say all the time, like, I know this content's so good, my heart's in it, I know this could help so many people, but I'm developing the skin enough for it to happen. And it's also me trying to micromanage, me trying to weave and force things. When we do that, we don't allow the miracle to happen, right? And it hits us, and anytime I manifest, it hits us when we least expect it. I mean, because that's what God intends, for it to surprise even us. And so I say to you guys, when we develop patience in all matters, it's very difficult to have patience. I know it's difficult for me, but it's anytime that I actually get outside of myself, unblock myself, or un-F-U-C-K myself, as I say, then I open myself up to the Spirit of God, and God actually directs what's supposed to happen, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, you guys. We're not in control of everything. It's a fact. The universe is going to happen anyways. Problems are going to hit us, from left field a lot of the times. It's for us to have the patience and to stop and recognize what's going on in the present. That's a huge thing, right? Don't be in the future, don't be in the past, because the present is going to allow the miracle to happen and for you to unwind and let go. That's all I got, you guys. I love you guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe. All right, guys. Bye.